If I can make $200 an hour, it's probably a $300-400 setup right here. 10 to 12 hours a day, over $40,000. Mark Reinhardt II, A1A window cleaning. Been in business for 9 years now. Started off really just going with the residential side of it all. Turned into about 80% power washing now. Do residential, commercial, power washing, roof washing, soft washing, gutter cleaning, and custom Christmas lights. That's been doing the custom Christmas lights for about 5 years now.
How did you learn the pressure wash?
Well, I started off doing windows for my dad's company, started smaller, easy jobs, started doing high-rise work, and then kind of always, he would give me a power washer and say, go to this address and power wash a house. It wasn't until I started my own company did I really understand how to be a professional power washer though.
What was that transition like? How much did you have to invest, or what was the first piece of equipment that led you to start your company?
Well, I started off with just, it was like an $800 power washer. I lugged that around the house with me with like 50 foot of hose and 50 foot of power wash hose. Pretty much rotted out after the first year having it, just because the chemicals got sucked into the exhaust and it rotted the power washer from the inside out. So that's also something I like to teach people. That's very important, is to wear a respirator, safety glasses, because if it can ruin my power washer, imagine what it's doing to your lungs. After, the next year, I got a job where I was actually like a mile of sidewalks that I had to power wash. And then I bought this before that job. So I actually didn't make any money from that job, but this power washer was paid off from in the same day. So that was kind of the big transition part for power washing there.
And what was your next big equipment that you bought?
So this is a 4 gallon per minute power washer. And then the one back behind me is an 8 gallon per minute power washer. That was a real step up right there. Scary machine kinda. The first time I used it, it was like a hurricane, a cyclone of water just spraying everywhere. What I did is I had a friend of mine help me out, and he held the power washer down. I put my hand about this far from the power washer, and it felt just like a light, fluffy cloud just hitting my hand. So that just made me feel more confident hitting a house with this big wall of water. So that was the hardest thing of learning that new machine, really. Then last year, I upgraded to a 48-inch surface cleaner. So I can get 48 inches like a sidewalk in one pass. So that really increased my efficiencies too.
Can you say how much that might have been?
That 48-inch surface cleaner back there was like $2,500. And then this 8 gallon per minute power washer here is about $5,000.
Can we go through your system that you have?
One of the biggest ways to be more efficient, I found, instead of lugging a power washer around a house with 50 foot of hose, is you park this trailer out in front of the house and you pull your hose up to the house. These hose rails, I can pull the hose up to the house. I can pull power wash hose all the way around the house if I want. To be able to reel these hoses in and unreel them fast, it's just a nightmare to try to reel your hose. I think this is, for beginners, this is one of the most efficient things that you can do, is just to buy hose reels, mount your power washer, and then just keep yourself parked out at the curb. A lot of newer people are starting off and they don't have a newer truck. You don't want to park an old truck on a new driveway and leave an oil spot that you're gonna have to clean up. But you can clean it up because you're professional. But
how long of a hose do you recommend?
I have 300 foot of hose. The water that comes into the trailer, at least 200 feet. Over there, I have about 300 foot of power wash hose. If you have any more than 300 foot of power wash hose, you're not able to draw soap from the system, but I have to add sometimes to do bigger jobs, and I don't need the soap on those jobs. But I always say to be adjustable. So I don't have a 300 feet on there. I have a couple different sections of hoses. That way, if I have a blowout, I can easily swap it out with a backup hose that I always have. So on top of having the backup hoses, I like to say that I have 3 machines here. So if one machine fails, I have another machine that is a backup. And then I actually even have a 12-volt pump that's hooked up to a battery. And if all else fails, I can go to that and I can still get the job done. It's super rare that I ever pull up to a job and don't finish it the same day, unless it's a larger job. But equipment failures, I have backups for backups and then backups.
And then can you talk about the water tank and then the soaps and stuff like that?
The water tank is really kind of more of a buffer tank because I'm drawing more water than I can get from most job sites. The water tank does help if I have an area that doesn't have a water source. It's not a huge water tank, but it'll get the job done. I got 2 chemical tanks. The 2 chemical tanks that I have are a chlorine-based cleaning solution. So that's gonna help you on green and black algae and mold moss type of deals. And then I have another container over here. I have a degreaser. A degreaser is gonna help you obviously with grease, but it's more carbon, man-made type of stains that we're trying to clean. So we typically got organic stains, or else we got man-made carbon type of stains that we're going after.
What are the essentials that you need?
All right, for the people that are starting off power washing, what I would recommend is you typically get these nozzles that come with your power washer. I would pretty much just about throw most of these nozzles away. Definitely the red nozzle, don't use a red nozzle. Those things damage property, they damage people's feet, whatever. Just throw the red ones away. Get a professional. They call this a J-rod. This has different nozzles on here. You have to go by the nozzles, by what type of machine you're using, what size machine you're using, but it's a quick, easy. These ones, they will work, but the red nozzle definitely needs to go in the trash. So get yourself a J-rod. And then this whole gun right here is actually a great gun. A lot of people don't know about this gun. When I first started off, I thought that this gun added soap by twisting, but what this gun does is it releases pressure. So if I get into an inside corner area and the water splattering around everywhere, I can release some pressure, and then this thing it's not spraying as crazy. Instead of going back to my machine and turning it down, I just turn the pressure down right here, and it's able to not make a mess of myself in the area that I'm working on. So I get most of my stuff from Great Lakes Cleaning Systems. They're over by the Ford Airport out there. They have cleaning soaps and most of your power washing needs out there.
And you know how much that one was?
The handle on it right here, this one's about a $200 handle. And then the rest of the wine was probably another $100. And then if you add the J-rod on there, I mean, it's probably a $300-400 setup right here in this whole gun.
How much did you invest to get started?
Well, to get started, I didn't really invest a lot, I guess. When I first started, my biggest investments were I bought a carbon fiber pole for window cleaning, so I could clean up to 55 feet and keep my feet on the ground. That was my biggest investment. And I bought $800 power washer. My window cleaning pole was about $2,000. If I could do it again, I probably would have spent $2,000 on my power washer and $800 on the window cleaning pole.
Can you talk about some of the type of jobs that you do?
So 2 of my most challenging jobs would be, the number one would be the airport, the Ford Airport, and then the second one was over here at Studio Park that we were just working at. Time constraints is really big there. Over here, you're not allowed to work at Studio Park till after 7 a.m. and then they kind of want you out of there by 11 a.m. And then the airport, it's kind of the same deal where I can get out there at like midnight. I can't work in front of any entranceways till 1 o'clock. Then they want me to start packing up at 4 o'clock and they want me gone by 5 o'clock. Even with them giving me permission to work there at that time, I could have my head down and I pick my head up and the airport is just full of people from flights being canceled. So it is always constantly busy there.
How long does a typical job take, like a residential job?
Most residential jobs, like 99% of my residential jobs, I'm able to complete in a day. It's pretty rare. I did like a 30,000 square foot home and that took me 3 days. It took me, 2 days of power washing and 1 day of window cleaning. So I always like to tell people that the job will be done the same day it started.
What do you like doing more, residential or commercial?
I definitely like residential more. They appreciate what you do more, where commercial jobs is more you just send them an invoice and then you get paid. It's pretty rare that you get a compliment or whatever. So I do though, so that's always nice when you do get a compliment from a commercial job.
For advertising, you just focus on social media?
I get most of my business from word of mouth. I'll park in front of someone's house and I got my setup. I put cones down, I put yard signs down, and I think if you look professional, that right there, you know, the neighbor's gonna see that. They're gonna ask, hey, I saw that A1A truck in front of your house, how did they do? So word of mouth, I really think is word of mouth and just looking professional. You know, I got A1A on every single piece of equipment. You know, not only is that for advertising, that also protects me if I forget something on a job site. They know that it's A1A's because I left it A1A sticker on it. So
Do you do any paid advertising or not?
yeah, I do a little bit of Facebook paid advertising, Instagram. Facebook definitely does better. Instagram, it always kind of surprises me when someone told me they found me on Instagram, but I'm A1A's even on TikTok. I've heard that, you know, companies get business off from TikTok. I personally haven't had anything yet, but I'm gonna explore all routes possible. What I do for advertising is I do basically everything for advertising. I've done retargeted ads.
What's a low-end job look like, and maybe what's a high-end job look like?
I believe that creating a minimum is very important for your job. You don't want to waste the customer's time, and more often you don't want to waste your time. You know, have a good minimum for window cleaning, have a good minimum for doing house washes, maybe even have a good hourly minimum for people that really want to just have you there hourly. I like to work more on jobs because my efficiencies are through the roof, but I'll bend any way possible to make the customer happy.
What do you think is a good starting spot for someone new? What should they charge for a minimum?
What I always suggest for people that are gonna go out and start their own power washing company is to go and work with a professional power washing company first to see how they are running things. There's a lot of people that are starting things off from YouTubes nowadays. Not saying it's not possible, but I believe a lot with going to conventions, networking with people throughout, you know, Michigan, throughout the United States, throughout the world. Networking and conventions, I know it costs money, but if you want to save yourself lots of headaches, it's just gonna make yourself, instead of wasting the money on the wrong equipment.
Do you have any employees, or have you ever considered getting an employee?
Yep, I always have a couple employees that help me out every year. I do a lot of coaching for other power washing, window cleaning companies. So sometimes when I get a larger job, I can reach out to the people that I train to have them come and help me on larger jobs too. So I believe that you know, networking with local window cleaning and power washing companies can be really powerful for your company. You can call them if you get into a bad situation. They can call you if they get into a bad situation. So I've really kind of, I like to wave with all my fingers to all of the other power washing companies out there, all the other window cleaning guys. I stop and try to talk with them. I do work for, if it's a power washing company, I'll do window cleaning for them. If it's a window cleaning company, I'll do power washing for them. I even do window cleaning for window cleaning companies that don't have the high-rise abilities like I do.
Do you have any plans on expanding or growing, and what does that look like?
Definitely gonna be expanding into the future. I'm looking to get a truck set up with just a truck without a trailer. That way I don't have to worry about training someone to back a trailer up and stuff like that. They can just pull a truck up in front of a house and get it done that way.
How far are you driving for your job?
So I'm always willing to travel pretty much anywhere anywhere. I'll go out of state, anywhere. I always say that if it's more than 15 minutes, I like to do what I call a guesstimate. For all my guesstimates, I've never had it where I've actually backed out of my guesstimate, but I like to just call it a guesstimate just in case. It gives me the chance that if the job is bigger than I anticipated. But you send me some texts, send me some emails with some photos, some square footage, we can get something worked out that I got the price before I drive up there, and then I can get the job done that way.
Are you going to some jobs and like almost bidding it or estimating it?
Yeah. So, I'll give them the guesstimate, and then I always like to say that I will give you a for sure price before I get started so that we're all on the same page.
Are you charging more of a flat fee, or is it like an hourly thing?
I got more of a flat fee.
Have you done it different in the past, or has it always been that way?
It's always been a flat fee type of a deal. Back when I worked for other window cleaning company, I used to get paid hourly, and I used to look at this big giant window that was 60 feet up there, and then I used to get paid $10 an hour to clean that window. And I told myself that when I have my own company, I'm gonna make $100 to clean that one window up there. So,
like when you very first started this business, do you know how much you were making per month?
before I owned my company, I would moonlight on the weekends and after 5, and I had this one job. I've actually been doing the same job since I was 18. I would charge her $200 to do her windows, and I would do them in 2 hours. So I kind of set that as my baseline as I started into my company, where if I can make $200 an hour with this lady, we should be able to move forward and keep that type of a structure. So I know a lot of other people start their companies with a way lower pricing structure, but those companies don't stay open, because not only are you trying to pay your bills with the money that you're charging, you're actually trying to do like a 401k, you're trying to do life insurance, you're trying to set yourself up for the long run and not just paying the bills.
For the last job, I saw you like cleaning up a lot of the like leftover scrap stuff. Like what happens to that usually?
When I'm finishing up jobs, I really like to clean up the debris that I'm leaving behind. Sometimes we have the property manager that'll clean up debris. A real important thing that I like to do is put traps over drains, especially if you're cleaning a grease area. If you push all that grease down into the sewer, that could clog the sewer, and then it costs big money to have someone to come out and actually clean that sewer. So you really want to try to minimize what you're putting down the drain. A little bit of sand, dirt, it's not going to hurt too bad, but the grease, you really don't want to put any grease down those traps. So clean up your mess, clean up after yourself. If I'm cleaning windows and leaving dirt on the ground, we want to clean that up.
What's one of the longest jobs you've done, and what's one of the shortest jobs you've done?
I drove 2 hours north to clean a 15-minute oil spot, and then I had to drive 2 hours back. But I made them know that my drive time wasn't going to be the cheapest drive time. A company delivered something, and when they delivered it, their lift gate leaked hydraulic oil on someone's driveway. So it was up north. They couldn't find anyone that power washed up there. So, and it's a company I've done it for a couple of times, so they trust me. So yeah, I was like, it's $50 an hour drive time. I mean, then with gas, that's not even really good money. So, and then I've really only done jobs that lasted like 3 weeks long. It was a big giant parking ramp. Working with other companies, I've worked out of town for months.
What's your typical work week like?
My typical work week is I like to try to do like Monday through Thursday, and that's when I'm just out doing jobs. And then Fridays, I like to leave kind of open for estimates, equipment maintenance. I like to say that when I get people that call, I like to say that I'm always 2 weeks out. I hate to say that I'm longer than 3 weeks out, and I like to use that Friday or even the weekends to make my schedule so I'm 2 weeks out. That way I can also get emergency calls, because I get emergency calls all the time where someone's like, we got a property or we're trying to get it cleaned up before we're selling it. You know, we're getting photos in like 3-4 days. I'll make it happen. I don't make it happen all the time, but I like to, you know, help my customers out the best way I can like that. I always look at my calendar and I see, you know, the Friday off or a couple days off, and I always dream that it's gonna be a day off, but typically it ends up getting filled in with work somehow.
How many hours do you think you're putting in a day?
2 years ago, when I first got the airport and I still had my normal daily schedule, and I didn't want to say no to the airport. So I ended up working third shift out at the airport, took a 2-hour nap, and then I would go back out and do my residentials from, you know, 9 o'clock till 5 in the afternoon. And then I would go to my daughter's soccer game, you know, from 6 to 7:30, something like that. Then I would go take another couple-hour nap and be back out at the airport. So that was a, you know, a rough one, but that's not my typical. You know, I typically like to work 10 to 12 hours a day.
What is this?
This is a remote soap on, soap off. So if I'm in the way back side of the house and I want to turn my soap on, I don't have to walk all the way back out to the street to turn my soap on and off. It's just a little, hangs from a necklace, and it's a little button that turns my soap on and off. It's a huge time saver. Actually, one of my biggest videos, gosh, what did this thing have? 60,000 views or 80,000 views, something like that. But it was with this right here. And what this does is you stick it in a puddle of water and it sucks the water out. So if you're doing 10 gallons, if you got a 10 gallon per minute power washer, that's gonna suck up 100 gallons of water per minute. So sometimes there's not drains. Like actually this big, large job I did was inside of this big giant factory. They turned this big factory into a showroom, and I power washed all the floors, but there was not one drain inside of this whole area. So that and a floor scrubber with a squeegee on it was kind of the trick to get the water off the floor on that job.
So if you were starting out and you wanted to become a pressure washer or start a pressure washer company or something like that, what do you think you could start with just money-wise?
I started my power wash company with an $800 power washer, and now they sell trailer systems like this for over $40,000.
And how long did it take you to work up to this?
Every year I'm just adding more. So I mean, 9 years now. The first year it was just pulling an $800 power washer around the house with 50 foot of hose and 50 foot of power wash hose. And I was using a wand and the turbo nozzle basically on everything. Turbo nozzle works good. It gets the area about like of a plate. You just have to be really careful on how far you hold it away from the surface, because this can damage a surface. I see people washing vinyl siding and stuff with these, and that's a big no-no.
And then if you could sum up your business in like a couple sentences, or like what you do, what you offer.
Mark Reinhardt, A1A window cleaning. We also do power washing, roof washing, gutter cleaning. We do custom Christmas lights. We have the best equipment. We have the most efficient equipment. We can get jobs done the right way, fast, and hassle-free. So for those residential customers that have dirty houses, I'm not just selling power washing, I'm selling free time. If you want some more tea time or some more boat time, I can help knock off some check marks off your list. Power washing, window cleaning, whatever it takes. Let's get you on the golf course.
If you could give 3 tips of advice to other entrepreneurs that are looking to start a business, what would that be?
When people ask me for tips about starting their own window cleaning power washing company, is don't quit your day job. I started off moonlighting, doing stuff on the weekends. So by the time I started my own company, I had a decent client list already. Number 2 would be, don't just go out from YouTube, get out there to a convention, work with another power washing company or some professional to really learn the trade. 3 is invest in the best equipment that you can get. I mean, sometimes you gotta buy what you can afford, and then sometimes you can buy the best with the warranties on it. So, you know, you definitely have to make a decision, but in the long run, it's gonna be better to buy the better equipment.